Welcome, everyone, to today's webinar on Dump Your Generator, Why Electrical Systems Are Better for Your Food Business and Your Customers. My name is Bradley Cooper. I'm the editor of Food Truck Operator, and I'll be moderating today's webinar, which is sponsored by Joule Case. So we're going to be talking today a lot about battery systems and the way by applying it to your business, you can both save money and improve the overall experience. So now that we've got that out of the way, I wanted to pass it to our first panelist, Sid, who will be taking us off. Sid?
Welcome, one and all. We're glad to have you with us and hope this is a time that is beneficial for you. Maybe you'll learn a few things, be able to think a little bit more about your business and about what you are doing in your business and how maybe batteries can become a part of your food truck or mobile business. We want to introduce our other folks that are going to be with us here. We've got Hannah Russell from Lightbox Ice Cream, Adam Sturgeon from White Shepherd Coffee, Robert Waltz from Aerobuild, and we're sorry that Kris Zankich was going to be with us, but he had a family emergency today that needed to be taken care of. So he will not be able to join us, but he is from Gold Rush Eatery and has a lot of experience with food trucks as well as running his operation now with battery power. So that's who we are, and we'll be taking some questions at the end of the conversation. So if you've got things, please feel free to jump in. But welcome to our webinar, and let's learn a little bit about what Joule Case does. When I was operating about 4 or 5 years ago, actually, we was set up for a music festival just outside as people were coming in and joining, getting set up. Had a couple of guys come by and get a cup of coffee. They were pulling a wagon. And I asked, because I'm a curious kind of guy, I asked, what are those? They said, well, they're batteries. We're powering the cash registers and some of the things for the music festival. I said, oh, really? Well, I've been trying to go battery powered for since I got started 6 years ago. They said, oh, really? We might be able to help you with that. That started a year-long conversation with Joule Case about how they could power a food truck. And we looked at my power needs, the running time. We tested output, input, all kinds of things. And finally, after almost a year, actually just a little more than a year, we got things set up where we could run a full coffee shop on batteries. And I pulled out a 12K generator with great trepidation that this was actually going to work. And in fact, actually, the week before I pulled the generator out, we set everything up on the side of the road, plugged it all in, and sure enough, it powered everything, did exactly what we thought it was going to do on paper. And from there on out, I've been silent, powered by batteries and solar, and would never go back. So it was quite the journey, but I've been running pretty much everything you would find in a storefront coffee shop out of my truck for the last 4 years, and it has never let me down. So no longer having the generator issues, don't have those oil changes, the noise, and it has been a wave to the future. So we are so glad that we are able to do that, and I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit more about some of the experiences for other people who have also been running Joule Case batteries and some of the things that they've made their differences. obviously the problem is generators are noisy. They require oil changes. They require maintenance. And if you've ever been on Facebook or any food truck group, you always know that generators go down when you need them the most. And everything else works. The big thing is that you're always dealing with that unknown of noise, maintenance, breakdowns, fuel costs, everything that goes into it. Never happens when you don't need it, but always happens when you do. So batteries now have become an option, and we think that you might be just the right people to make that switch as well. So I know, Adam, you've operated your food trucks and trailer with both generator and battery. What kind of difference have you seen in that change?
Yeah, well, when I started, obviously I didn't know about the battery system, so I just I got the Duramax generator on Amazon, 12,000 watt. I knew I needed a lot, so I got that one. It's heavy. It didn't fit mounted on my trailer, so I had to carry it in and out every day, like pull it in, pull it out, pull it in, pull it out. And probably like 2 weeks in, I was like, if this is my livelihood, I can't. I'm turning 40 this year, so I can't do this forever. Like with this generator, it's not gonna work. I'm gonna break my back. Beyond the fact that using the gasoline and stuff, so I started looking into the batteries pretty quickly. I was on a generator for 3 months, and when I found Joule case and switched over, so that first thing for me was just like the pain of pulling in and out every day and dealing with the heavy weight, dealing with that. And then beyond that, yeah, there were times where like the generator wouldn't work or it was super loud, and I would always try to put it as far away as possible so I didn't bother customers or even bother myself because it was so noisy. And honestly, the first time I ran the batteries, I was actually kind of felt weird. I felt like I wasn't even on. Like I was like, are we even is it everything even gonna know where we're here? That's kind of how it felt. Because I'm like, this feels weird. But now when I go places and someone pulls up with a generator next to me, actually I have to close everything up because I'm feeling like now it bothers me because I'm so used to the quiet. So
yeah, that's one of the first events I was out after I made the change over. Had one of the coordinators that brought me in, who I'd known before. We'd done things with him before, and he came by, and all of a sudden he's walking around the truck, and he's looking at it, and he's going, how are you doing this? I don't hear the generator anymore. Yeah. And that led to kind of a repeat call for that business. We've been back there much more often now since we're not running the generator and having to have people talk over it. So I feel with you there, Adam.
Yeah, we get a lot of compliments, and we do a lot of neighborhoods, and I'm sure a lot of you do. And then all the neighbors are really happy that they don't have to listen to a generator when they wake up, because we get there early. I'm there at 6:30 in the morning or 6 or whatever, and they don't want me to wake them up. So I'm nice and quiet. They don't deal with all that noise.
Yeah. What about you, Hannah? What's been your experience now, battery powered?
Yeah, so we did use a generator first, and exactly what Adam said, when we turned ours on, I was like, it's not working because there was no noise. So it's totally transformed our business in a lot of ways. But what I'll say is the batteries are the easiest part of my day. They're the easiest part of what we have to do, because there's a lot of security in it, very reliable. And also, not to mention, we were very limited to what we could do. We couldn't plug in a speaker, our cell phone chargers or things like that with out with generator power. So just the ease and convenience of having the batteries has just really been one less thing that we have to worry about. It's given us a lot of security in being able to power our equipment.
Yeah, so tell me more about that, Hannah. What has been your customers' response? I mean, you said it's kind of transformed your business. Can you flesh that out a little bit?
Yeah. So we do soft serve ice cream. Soft serve is just a little different than hard dipped ice cream that is frozen. So our ice cream or our products are made on the spot. So it's a fresh made product. And so it's transformed our business in a lot of ways, but specifically, we are able to make the ice cream while we drive. So prior to having batteries, we had a generator, which, going to Adam's point, we had to pull it out of the truck, start it, make sure it was far away from where we were serving, and then we could get our service started. Now we can just pull up to a neighborhood or to a birthday party or something, and have the ice cream ready, and then go on to the next event. Prior to having batteries, we had to pull the generator out. It took at least 45 minutes to get everything up and going. And now we just are able to start our day with the ice cream running while we drive. So it's really changed the way we can book events. And then, of course, just the efficiency of having the ice cream going while we drive has really opened up a lot of opportunity for more revenue and more opportunity to sell.
Yeah, I've heard a couple of people who have made that shift say the same thing, that they're going from 1 to 2 bookings a day to 2, 3, even 4, because they're not having to unload the generator or start it up, cool it down, other things. And that's money in your pocket.
Yeah, and not to mention the overload. We were overloading our generator, and so because our soft serve equipment is a lot of power, there's a lot that has to happen to keep the ice cream frozen and to keep it, or to even take it from liquid to frozen, and then not to mention maintain it all day. So there's just a lot of inner workings that require a lot of power. So we're overloading the generators constantly. So this has just been a much more efficient path, but also leads to a lot more opportunity for revenue.
Yeah, Robert, and maybe you can jump in, because I know you help design and build varieties of food trucks, and so one of the questions often comes up is, hey, how can you power all of this with batteries? And can you talk a little bit about how that works for you, as far as in the design phase, the helping people understand their requirements, and how batteries can actually do what we know they can?
Yeah, thanks for asking. As a trailer manufacturer here in Nashville, we kind of stumbled upon Joule case actually a little while ago, and we had several clients now use them, and it's really opened up a lot of avenues for them to be able to, like Hannah said, have new marketing opportunities, and then, to Adam's point, be able to pull up in neighborhoods and not have to have the loud generator in the background. So it was a bit of a challenge just from a weight standpoint, but we got it figured out, and people are loving it, man. It's the easiest part of their day. They're, like everybody said already, it pretty much hit on all the nails, but it's quiet. You don't even know you're on. And I remember when Joule came to install the first one, we all were very curious how these 2 group espresso machines, grinders, AC, water pump, all the, things that people don't see from the outside, but it's a lot of power requirements. And when we switched on the inverters and the batteries got moving, It was like we found Atlantis. It was just a big pile of gold sitting in front of us. Everything was on, working, quiet. So it's been a fun experience, and we're really like happy to have Joule as a partner.
No, that's exciting there, Robert. And when you look at your builds, I know you primarily do new builds, but have you what kind of things might somebody have to do to retrofit? Is it an easy process as you've seen the installation? Could you speak to that retrofit versus new kind of build setup?
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly simple. It's kind of plug and play, no pun intended. It's however you guys want to set it up in your food truck. They have the stackable version, which is a bit more of a space saver if you don't have as much length in your truck or trailer. And then you have the wall mounts as well. But it's pretty simple. You just wire it up to the breaker panel, and Joule can walk you through it. They've been really helpful on the customer service side as well. So yeah, it's not very complicated.
Oh, thank you, Robert, and we're glad to have Kris be able to join us here as well. Kris, we're sorry for your family emergency, but we're glad that you could take a couple minutes out and join us. We've been talking a little bit about our transition from generator to battery, and want to make sure that you get a chance to jump in here. Kris, what was it like for you when you pulled that generator out and first went battery powered?
Well, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So I've been in business for about 12, almost 13 years now. I had our truck built here in Northern California by a manufacturer that was from LA area, and they moved up here because there was such a huge demand up here and there was no manufacturing up here. So I had it built about 12 years ago. Unfortunately, when they built it, we have so much equipment in our truck that and it's a gas truck. So the max we can go with the generator with the built-in one was a 7,000 watt Cummins. And those are the air-cooled generators. And the problem that we had from day one was that thing, especially in the summer, and everyone knows how all your equipment works so much harder in the summer, is due to opening and close, and you're at an event and you're opening and closing everything, the doors, that it ends up to be, overworking the generator. So, and I know you guys are, and so I've kind of calculated, I've gone through my finances that I'd like to have back at this point, but I've about new generators, because those are about $7,000-8,000, new ones and the repairs. I've gone through approximately $100,000 worth of repairs and generators in the 12. And it would break down in the most inoperable time. And so what would happen, hold on one second, ma'am. Hold on one second, ma'am. Is there any way I could switch with you? Because I have an appointment. Can you move over there, budget? Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to move so I could hear the officer. Sorry about that. So about $100,000 worth of repairs and generators, and on top of that, I've calculated about probably $200,000 worth of gas.
Yeah.
So $100,000. On top of that, I've lost probably 10, 15 events. That what happened was we couldn't get a generator going and we couldn't do the event. So now, on top of all that other money, and also now you're losing out extra money there. So that's how I kind of was looking for, and we work a lot up at Tesla. We're up here in Northern, close by Tesla factory, and I tried to get Tesla to help design some sort of battery system for our truck, and the guys at the factory, and they just could not come up with something. And fortunately, I was able to find Joule. And on with that, I worked with you guys. You guys did an analysis of what power I was going to, came up with a great strategy as to, and I went with say the 8,000. Are the 8,000 or the batteries? Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, what was that again, Kris?
I said, I believe we can, are they 8,000 kilowatt batteries? Is that what the size of your guys' batteries are?
They're either 5, 6, or 9s now.
Okay, so I have three of the 9,000, and then with the inverter, and so mine was a retrofit. It was, I went back to my manufacturer. We had to kind of move a few things around, not very much. I had to place them in a cabinet, and we kind of made an access door from the outside to make sure there's airflow from the outside and on the inside. And from there, I just wired up some power where we park our truck is at my restaurant, and from there it's been a lifesaver for us. We rarely, I did keep the generator in there because at first, I was a little reluctant as to, hey, this really going to be able to power me up for the extended time that we need. And, but I mean, I can count I think it's been I think we had it done now around end of November is when we finished our project. So we're at 6, 7 months now. I think I can count maybe once or twice, and I even had to, but I didn't even really need to use the generator. It was just like, oh, I just want to fire the generator up to make sure it even starts anymore.
Safe backups are always helpful.
Yeah.
It's just like you don't fire it up, you don't even know if it even works anymore. But we get back, we plug it in, and I can just see the amount of money that we're saving, daily, monthly, yearly with the batteries. It's going to be, and like some of the other people had said, going to an event and not have the smell and the noise of the generator is, people are like, how are you sitting here putting this, how is your fridges working? How is everything working? They don't understand you have this battery system. There's been some that have used smaller battery stuff, and I'm like, guys, why are you gonna? And they got like 6 or 7 of these little batteries, and they last for an hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm like, you just need to get some good batteries. Don't start getting And that's the thing as I talk to them and the other guys, and I've had a lot of other trucks, and I've showed them what we're doing, and then also I just finished up. I put in an extension, did our taxes late, but we're with that tax credit also too. I think they're still doing it. I'm not sure. Is that still in effect? If you guys for this year?
Yeah. Yeah. People get a nice reduction on their taxes for that power. And just informational. Obviously, talk to your tax professional. We are not tax advisors, but you are eligible for a tax incentive for renewable energy purchases, and so that comes off your business or personal taxes. So, Kris, you mentioned that you charge at your restaurant. Hannah, Adam, where do you charge your trucks at?
At our commercial kitchen, we have a location, and sometimes at our house, for in between events or, overnights or whatever. But yeah, just nowhere special, honestly, which is nice. I will say that the batteries are so easy and just kind of, flip a switch kind of thing that I sometimes forget to charge them. And so don't do that. That's the only thing, we've shown up and only had like 14% battery, which it performed beautifully. And it was like nothing else happened. Of course, in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, any minute now we're going to shut down. But that's the only thing, that we've learned is just remember to charge them.
I was just going to jump in real quick just to remind our listeners here that immediately after this webinar, we will have a live Q&A. So if you have any questions you want to ask any of the panelists, please feel free to enter that into the chat. We'll be taking a look at that. Just quick bookkeeping.
What about you, Adam? How do you charge yours?
Yeah, we have a shop in our town here, and we actually pull our trailer in there and plug it in at the shop. And then we have a truck, which we work out a deal with our neighbor to plug into his because we are completely out of power at our at our shop. But that gave me a good idea though, just plugging in there now to see like what the cost is. So for me, for instance, last month to charge our truck, which is similar to Kris's, I have the 9K battery, two inverters, and for the month, I think it cost me $90 to charge it every day overnight.
Okay.
Running right now in the summer, running AC and stuff overnight. So compare that to like gas and everything on a generator, not to mention maintenance, and not having to go to the gas station and stuff. So just the cost of that is helpful to know because I couldn't really tell before based on us using the shop every day. So yeah, we plug it in there, just a 30 amp breaker.
Okay, and if you see the truck sitting behind me, the picture of my truck, we've got solar panels on our truck as well. And this time of year, pretty much on an average day, solar panels will recharge my batteries. So I very rarely plug in. Usually if it's for an event, I might plug in first thing in the morning to preheat everything so it's ready to go. But the solar panels definitely extend the service time. So that's been a big help for me as well. I want to talk a little bit more, Adam, maybe you can talk a little bit more about how the batteries have changed your perception or your customer's perception of what it is that you have to offer as a food truck and trailer. What do they say? How do they respond?
Well, the response has been great, but it's not just from, people are always like curious when they see the inverters, especially on the trailer, you can see the window. Just like, what are you running on? Like, why is it quiet? They always asking. So I'm able to kind of walk them around the trailer and show them the build. We had like a fabricator build a box on the outside with ventilation and weatherproofing for our batteries. So that's kind of cool to be able to show people. But then I get a lot of requests from different food truck operators to talk about the batteries, whether they decide to go with it or not. And I'm always willing to like show them our system, and just the response is just huge on the ability to not have to use a generator. I don't think anyone really likes to use a generator, but obviously people are just kind of stuck like, hey, this is my only option. Even if you find a cheap one, like mine was cheap. I didn't spend $7,000, but I had the same issues on overloading it. We joked around because I couldn't hit the microwave and pull a shot at the same time, essentially. Like I had to microwave, every time. So, but now it's so smooth. I think that was the biggest surprise. Like I think Robert was talking about like just making sure like everything works smoothly when he built them out. And it was like that ability to like not feel any like hit on the generator, not worrying, is it gonna go off? Or things working, everything just runs really nicely. So
yeah. Hannah, did you have something you wanted to jump in there with?
No, I just second all of that, everything he said. Yeah. Well, for us specifically, our truck is this one behind me. It can like fit in your pocket. It's very small. And so space wise, we get that all the time. We show up to events and they expect us to just, pour out of our truck because of the generator and all the things necessary to run something like this. But yeah, it's very compact. And in a food truck, you've got to have so many things in there and just the space and, it being so small and compact is really helped us be able to utilize every inch, for other things. So.
Yeah. And I think for me too, the difference in customers as I think Kris kind of alluded to as well. When we went battery powered, it opened up some opportunities for us that weren't there with a generator. We actually booked a long-term relationship with our local botanical garden because we didn't need their power and we were quiet. And so we do their Christmas lights, holiday lights event every year for the last 4 years now. And from Thanksgiving to New Year's, we are there 5 nights a week, and we do probably a quarter of our sales in that time frame, and that we booked because we were battery powered and weren't using a generator. So it really opened up some opportunities for us, not just in repeat caterings, but long-term events as well. So it's definitely been a plus for us. And I tell people, hey, we paid for our batteries in the first 4 months just because of extra events that we booked. And that's all a lot of people fear is, how are we going to pay for these? Yeah, they're expensive, but compared to like what Kris was saying, I mean, how much did you say you'd spend on generators?
Well, generators alone and repairs about 100,000, and in the 12 years, and then gas probably another 200,000, because we have that nice cheap gas down here in California, about 50 right now. So it's like I would love to have that 300,000. I mean, I think I'm in totally on your guys' system with the electrical that I had to do and the panel. I think I was around 24 to 25,000 with labor and everything. I think somewhere right around that area. That's the inverter. It's really not very hard to install. An average electrician and you guys did a really good job of walking us through, and any technical help walking us through, and it's rather simple. You guys even send us the cables and the cords and everything that need to be hooked up. So it ends up to be a simple process.
Yeah, and Robert, maybe you can talk a little bit about that installation process a little bit more too. I know you're a professional, but is this something anybody can do, or do we, do they need to have a skilled electrician? Who would you call? I mean, if you were to recommend someone installing the batteries, who might they look to help them get that done?
Kris said it pretty well. I would say, well, after the first couple of installs that you guys helped us with, we had like our head electrician do the next one, and then he pretty much had his apprentices train with him, and now the apprentices are knocking it out in about a half a day. So it's fairly a simple install. But I did want to add one more thing to the point beforehand of you guys just mentioning the amount of events that you're able to go to. I think I wanted to point out the quality of the events that you can go to with a battery system. So maybe it's not always quantity over quality. I mean, if you can hit, a bunch of different events, but that's, more money in your pocket, but you also have that ability to take on the higher end clients because of your system. And so I think that's a big win for food truck and trailer owners, just because they have that new system, that marketing, I guess you could say, just level up from the next person, because who's going to, if you guys have the exact same quality food or drinks, then why would I get the person with a generator over the person with the electrical system? So I think that's a huge, point as well, is just the quality of your events could be whatever you want it to be at that point. So, yeah, just wanted to kind of make a note of that.
I'll add to that if I could. Yeah. So, in Nashville, we have, a lot of, celebrities and things like that. So driving our truck into their home for their backyards or wherever we are, they want zero impact. And having to pull a generator out, having to, have a lot of noise and things like that. That's one of the first questions some of them will ask is, are you zero impact? And of course we know what that means now, but yeah, it's really nice to be able to say, yes, we will pull up and, you don't hear us, you don't smell it, we'll just serve you ice cream and then we're on our way. So yeah, that's been really helpful to be able to book some of these clients that are really looking for, energy efficient kind of thing, but also just don't want that noise or fumes or that kind of stuff at their house.
Yeah, I might mention too, one of our clients this winter told me that he was invited to take his little trailer that he primarily run during the summer into the convention center because he could, he could charge batteries with a 110, but he couldn't have operated his food truck without the batteries just on that outlet. So he expanded his season because he could pull it inside, was fume free, and able to extend that service. So it has multiple impacts by going battery powered. So I know we've had a lot of conversation. Bradley, do you have any questions out there that you want to throw our direction?
Yeah, so we have a few questions coming in from our attendees. So we can go ahead and get started with that. So our first question is, does an overnight 110 volt voltage outlet charge sufficiently charge the entire system for the next day? That's a very good question.
Yes. Yeah. The easy question is yes. If for us, if you go from 0%, like we've used all of the battery power, it takes about 14 hours for it to get back up to 100%. But we can operate under 100% in what we do if we don't have 14 hours between events. But that is draining the batteries completely. That's doing 4 or 5 events, going 6 hours, 6-7 hours full battery usage. So yeah, overnight is in a 110 volt for sure.
Hannah, what size system do you have?
Okay, so I don't know. I just texted my husband and I don't know. I know we have 2 batteries and then an inverter. So I'm trying to get him to tell me what the size is.
Okay, I just want to jump in on that question too, because now I have 2 different systems. So it depends. Like my new system will not charge overnight with a 110 volt outlet. It's not going to charge. It just won't charge overnight. The first one does, but I don't trust it to fully charge. Like it doesn't, I mean, if I'm like completely out, it won't do it in one night. And I have 4 5K batteries. So in that one. So I would say that you have to kind of like test it based on what you have. If you're just using a 110 volt, like you said, Hannah, you can technically, you can still run off of like what you have, whether it's 50%, 20%, whatever. Obviously the length of time is going to change, but I think the length of time for charging also depends on the system.
Yeah. Okay. It does depend on the system. We have 2 inverters and 2 5K batteries.
Okay. And so, like for me, I charge primarily on a 240, and so I can recharge. I've got 30 kilowatt hours of battery, and if I'm down pretty low after I've done maybe two back-to-back big events, with a 240, usually I'm good to go in about 6 to 8 hours. Depending upon that. I can also charge on a 110 with a different charger that goes right to the batteries rather than through the inverter. So I can charge in multiple ways. But yeah, as Hannah said, and Adam too, it kind of depends. I mean, every system is going to be designed individually for the truck's needs, and you kind of will learn over the time how much power you need and how long it's going to take to charge. So one size does not fit all.
What I would like to say regarding the charging is talking to you guys, there's different settings, and Robert, you'd probably know a lot about this. There's different settings and different speeds that you can have regarding the you want to maximize whatever breaker power that you have coming in to make sure it's set properly also. So sometimes people might have the settings not proper, possibly on the inverter. And then also the other thing you can do is you guys also offer, and I was going to purchase one of those, is that charging unit that you can have that will plug in. Say you're at a spot and it'll just plug right into the back of your it plugs into one of your, basically you have two ports that are open because you're on your sequence of batteries. It plugs right into there and then it comes out, and then you can plug that from any, plug that you might have at any kind of an event that they might have. And then while you're using it, it's also charging it also.
Yeah.
All great points. And our next question actually goes right into that. So, this person asks, systems are sized for particular energy use over time based on your average event length. For us, that's usually 4 to 5 hours. What are some tactics I could use when our event time runs into the 8 or 12-hour time span? Very good point.
Yeah, it happens
Yeah, I think.
quite a bit too. Sorry, I don't know.
Go ahead, Adam.
No, I was gonna say that we have a quick charger as well, so that's I would for our trailer. I'd plug in for this tactic. I would use it's like a longer event. I plug in the quick charger right away, so it's automatically just kind of refiltering some power back into the batteries. And then I also like we have an AC in our trailer, so I'll take an extension cord. If I have the ability to plug in somewhere, I'll power on their 110. I'll plug in my AC into their power if I can, just so I'm not using all of my major appliances on our batteries. But like if you don't have that ability, then you're gonna have to. I mean, you have to find another way. When sometimes we have brought a generator, like a small generator, to do that in the beginning, and because I wasn't sure. Like I think Kris still kept his generator, but I did the same thing, thinking I wasn't gonna work, so I used a generator to power us up a little bit, and I stopped doing that. So, yeah, I just try to plug into their power if you can.
Yeah, and solar panels are one option that can extend your service time. But like Adam said, there are some small generators that you can use quiet. Would never power your whole truck, but you can run it to trickle charge your batteries to extend your time of service. So there are ways around it. You don't have to size for that 1 day a year event. So you don't have to spend another $6,000 or $10,000 for the extra batteries that you're never going to use. There are ways to get around that to extend your time service, and the technicians there at Joule can help you figure out what the best way to do that is.
Great point. So our next one is more of a comment than a question. It says, it depends really on the power you use, because most of our units pull 75 to 80 amps of power all day long. But the next question is, what have any been the disadvantages to batteries over generators? Kind of getting the other side of the equation.
Well, I'll answer for me. Just like I mentioned before, I don't know if it's a disadvantage, but just remembering to plug it in, that's really it. And so just showing up without, full battery charge was just a little bit unsettling. Am I going to just shut down in the middle of this event? But that's really the only one that I can come up with.
I don't.
Well, I would say, go ahead, Kris.
I don't see any disadvantage to, as you can see, I already talked about how much money I've spent over the years. I could probably buy another custom food truck for the amount of money that I've spent. And some of the ones that I've seen by some of the builders now ours is a rather large truck. We have a ton of stuff in there, refrigeration. So that's another thing too, is really depending on what you have in your truck. But we have such a large truck that we can service 500 to 700 people, and we do barbecue and burgers and fryer items. So if you're trying to, that's how you're going to make your money. If you can service an event And because you have a lot of downtime driving two events, setting up back and forth. But if you have an event where you can service 500 or 700 people, that right there, you just do one event, you're done for the day. You don't need to go do four events where you're serving 50 to 100 people when you can just do one. And that's a huge advantage of the battery system. Set up there and not have to, if you have portable, you just have to put them in and out, in and out, in and out all day long. You're going to waste so much time, and the batteries are so much more efficient.
Yeah, I would say, the disadvantage for having batteries is, you become that food truck that gets the events, and other food trucks don't like you as much, and so they say bad things about you. But hey, that's something I'm willing to put up with.
Great point.
Bradley,
Don't hate the player.
One comment before.
Excuse me? Oh,
It's a comment about the runtime, the 75 to 80 amps.
Yes.
So I know that they're asking a question. I think that question can be answered by the Joule case when they build out your system. Because it says he's asking about larger amperage being used all day long. But Joule case they can build your system out. They'll ask you all your power needs. And then they'll kind of build it out based on your power needs. So they're not all standard. We don't all have the same system based on our power needs. That's kind of what I'm getting out of that comment from Charlie.
Yes, thank you for that clarification there. Really appreciate it.
And I might jump in there before the next question too, Bradley. I run 3 240 volt appliances on my food truck. So I've got a 3-group espresso machine, a double-headed brewer, and a 240 steamer as well that I can run. I can pull, as much power as what Hannah's pulling with soft serve ice cream. And so it really is a system that can be designed for your needs. And it's not a question of, are you going to need too much that the batteries can't supply? It's the question of, how much do you need? How do we design it? How do we set you up so you can be successful?
Yes, perfect. Thank you. So leading right into what you were saying, Hannah, about charging. So this next question is about, is it okay to run batteries below 10%? Or like EV batteries, is it recommend to keep them within 20 to 80%?
You can run them as long as they're on.
Yeah, it's a great question. And the way the system is designed is that it will shut itself down if it becomes dangerously low. So the inverters are set so that you'll get the warnings if you are draining it too much, and it will then let you continue to run, but it will shut itself down before it gets to the point where it damages the batteries. So the system has some fail-safe designs to it. Obviously you don't want to go deplete it on a regular basis, but it will protect itself.
Perfect. So our next question is about, it's about having multiple batteries. So this individual said they have a freezer, refrigerator, and 2 domestic air conditioners. Will they need the 3 battery system?
That's going to depend upon how long they serve of their service times and the equipment. Some air conditioners are going to pull more power than others. Your freezers, your refrigerators, those really are not big energy hogs because once they get cold, they're going to stay cold. And maybe Robert can address some of that with the design builds that he's worked out as far as the sizes, but it really is dependent upon what your equipment is, as well as how long your service time is going to be. Yeah,
your 2 ACs are going to eat most of that amperage and wattage up. I mean, Sid, yeah, you basically said it. It depends on how long you want to be out there, and once the refrigerators and freezers get cold, they're well insulated, and they really don't take up too much power at that point. So I would ask your Joule rep about your system there and what you might need.
Perfect. All great points. So our next question is how easy it is to scale up your system by adding more batteries and solar panels.
Very simple.
Well,
I would say you're just basically stacking another one. They stack right in place. They have these interlocking, like basically legs that, and then there's this little clasp, little locks that kind of they lock together. And then it's just basically two wires. It's just two cables. It's almost like battery cables that connect to each other, and you end up with. Now you've went from, if you like ours that we have three. I have room to put one more where we're at, so I have the option to get one more battery. So we would be 20. So we would up to 36. We could go up to 36,000 kilowatts if we need be. But at this point, kind of the middle of the summer, first year I've done it, and I haven't had to really even worry about it. And that's with all the equipment. And then we also have a commercial bread toaster to toast the buns and everything. And those pull, Robert could tell you too, but those pull a lot. They're like 12 to 15 amps, and you have that thing going at an event all day because you don't really have much time to turn it on and off, on and off. That, along with like air conditioners, pull the most. In addition to like your espresso machines and soft serve machines. But Joule does a really good job of calculating that for you and your needs. And they did a great job with us to figure out what batteries we do need. So that they'll do a great job with that. And then they are very easy to upgrade if you ever had to do another one. But as of now, we haven't had to, and we don't need to. It'll be great.
All excellent points. So we have a really important question, and this is probably one of the top questions people are going to ask is what is the initial investment for a Joule case battery system?
That's the $10,000 question right there, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Robert, do you want to jump in some of the different systems that the range that you've seen?
Sure, yeah. So right now with Joule, we kind of have two systems. One's going to be more for like a retail and maybe even just like a smaller power draw. It runs right around $7,000 to $8,000, and that's going to be AC, lights, refrigerator. And then the other one for like a full coffee shop build out that I feel most comfortable, clients getting 6 to 8 hours of service with is right around 15. So that's kind of your two price points that I'm aware of. But I know you guys have 3 different size batteries and then the inverters as well. So again, like I hate to keep deferring to it, but it really does depend on your setup. But I think Kris has kind of said it multiple times now. The initial cost of the investment may seem higher. And also Adam said it too. It's like saving your back, saving money on gas, and then also time. You recoup that money so quickly. So, even though it is a large number at the beginning or a larger number than a generator, you still have to have power. So it's worth the cost.
Yeah, I think your range, as Robert was saying, you can get into it basically in the $8,000 range. That's before the federal tax incentive. You could go up as high as $36,000 if you're running, a full out soft serve ice cream with multiple machines, et cetera, et cetera. But at that point, you're also making money that is going to pay for those batteries as well if you're running something that large.
Right. Excellent point. So our next question is, what is the expected lifespan of Joule case systems, and is there a warranty offered?
Can you repeat that last portion, that last part of the question?
And does Joule Case offer any warranty coverage?
Oh, yes. Good point. Yes, the batteries, I believe that it's a 10-year lifespan. And that's basically saying 10 years, your expected life or a power outage is going to be at least 80% thereabouts for what you have or what you started with. So for mine, running 30 kilowatt hours of power, at 10 years, I should be able to expect at least 24 kilowatt hours of power at the end of that time frame. And there is warranty. Joule guarantees that they will make the system work, and it will work for you. If not, they'll refund your money, work it out the deal. We've had people who it just wouldn't work for, and so they sent it back, refunded the monies. It is, we'll do whatever we can to make sure that it will work for your system, and that's what we're there for. Joule is focused on customer service, and we want you to be successful in just the same ways that you want to be successful.
Can I add to that, Sid? Because that is very true, and that has definitely been our experience. Because when we started with Joule, we sent them our power requirements we had 2 soft serve machines, and we sent them the power requirements, and that we had already paid for the batteries, and then we got a call from a technician that said, "You actually need double the power." They didn't realize that we had 2 machines that needed and so it was going to cost double than what we expected. And so they were Joule was just very, just helped us try to get ahead of the problem, and tried to figure out ways around how we knew we needed battery power to do what we were doing. And they made the recommendation, "Can you change the machines that you have?" And we were like, "Oh, well, there's a thought." So they really helped us reach a solution rather than say, "Sorry, it's just going to cost you double, and that's just all there is to it." So they really helped us work towards a solution for us to get to where we wanted to be. And yeah, so they worked double time on helping us, and we ended up buying a system that was cheaper than what originally we were supposed to do. So I just want to say yes on the customer service side of it. It really did feel like they were on our side and wanted to just reach a solution that worked for us, instead of just selling us something that wasn't going to work.
Perfect. So I think we have time for one last question, which is how do the operational costs of Joule Case systems compare to a generator?
Yeah, I think your operational costs, as Kris has been mentioning, how much it's cost him in generators over the years and service. I think when we ran our initial numbers, the estimate was about a 3-year payback. It's been much less than that, just in the extra business we've generated, as well as the fuel savings. Compared to the electricity costs, we've been way ahead cost-wise for our experience.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sid. And I just want to remind everyone, if you can see on your screen here, there's a QR code you can scan. For everyone who's attending the webinar, you will get 10% off deals for complete system up to $5,000, and that will run through July 28th. So I wanted to thank everyone joining us. This was a really great webinar with some really great insights into battery systems. And thank you to our listeners for joining us too. Thank you, everyone.